it was not the sellout crowd that one expected at Providence last night on the outskirts of Georgetown in Guyana. It was, however, a good crowd. On a difficult pitch, West Indies show some class and reach a very competitive 173 in their 20 overs. When it was Uganda's turn to bat, Akeal Hosein sliced through their batting like a sharp knife going through butter. It was a comprehensive and highly effective performance from the West Indies, showing their class. Many of us had expected a huge total, but clearly on that pitch, there's no big score that one should expect. Hello, everyone, and good evening. Welcome. Joining me to discuss the West Indies match against Uganda's last night is Roger Tracy, who is an organizer of cricket in Fort Lauderdale, and Andre Douglas, a teacher from Jamaica, presently living in New York. Good afternoon, gentlemen. Welcome to the show.
Thank you very much for having me.
Yes, thank you, Carlton, and good afternoon to all the viewers.
Gentlemen, West Indies played with the same playing 11 that played the first match against Papua New Guinea. While many persons were asking for change, the captain and the team management stick to the same playing 11, giving them another chance. I, for one, was not surprised, and I strongly believe that it was the correct playing 11. West Indies won the toss and decided to bat first. And as I said, made 173 for 5. The pitch was difficult. Johnson Charles was the top scorer with 44 from 42 deliveries. Andre Russell made 30 not out from 17 deliveries. When Uganda batted, Akeal Hosein made mincemeat of their batting order. Andre, what was your biggest takeaway from last night's match?
Away from last night game was the way that West Indies applied themselves, because as you rightly said, it was a very difficult pitch to bat on, and the way normally West Indies would be just going gun-ho, trying to hit boundaries after boundaries, but they realized that it was not that type of pitch in which they could just slug away like that, so they had to really apply themselves to get to a very good total on that pitch. When you look at a person like Andre Russell, not very often would you see Andre Russell scoring 30 runs without a 6 being included. So that shows you the difficulty they had in actually scoring runs and scoring runs at a very, very fast rate. So the way that West Indies apply themselves on such a difficult pitch, I must give them a great deal of credit for that.
Roger, were you impressed with the way that West Indies went about their business last night?
Absolutely. West Indies in the past have been accused of playing brainless cricket. And, it's always been said that we have powerful players, we have attacking players, but we have in the past tend to not play the situation well. I think yesterday was a really clinical performance. Our batsmen quickly assessed conditions. You could see up front the way Johnson Charles struggled. The ball was moving. It was not the sort of pitch where you could just come and play through the line. Before the match started, obviously, I think all fans would have said, hey, West Indies need to get a total of 200 to 250. But after the first 2 or 3 overs, I think it was very noticeable that anything over 170, 180 would be a very good total. I think we applied ourselves, or the West Indies applied themselves well, and it was an impressive performance overall from the men in maroon.
Our captain, Ravman Powell, clearly made the decision to come at number 4 to try and up the run rate. But should it have been Ruston Chase, who I believe played very well in the first match, showing some great understanding of the situation? Shouldn't Chase have batted at number 4? Because that type of pitch is ideally suited for someone like Chase. What are your thoughts, Andre?
I mean, I for one, do believe that Chase is probably the most versatile now in the batting order because Chase has the ability to really play spin well. He plays very well on those type of pitches, by the way. So either one, he could come in, he could rotate the strike, and he could also go pretty hard at the back end of the inning. So I think Chase could have really come in at number 4 because I doubt Chase would not have scored any less quicker than what our captain did, right? So I think Chase could have done an even more effective job coming at number 4.
Roger, I know you are someone who is very positive. You want the batsmen to continue to go positive. You believe that get the runs quick and over with. Are you in a favor of Rovman Powell batting at 4 last night?
Yeah, I mean, in the situation we found ourselves in, when Rodman came in, I think 10 overs, were already bowled. I think, if we had lost that second wicket after about 7 overs, then yes. But in our situation, there was no danger of the team really being, bowled out. So I think it was a good decision from Rodman, especially with Charles scoring at a run a ball. I think Rodman came in, essentially thinking if there's anyone that could increase this run rate a little bit, he can do it. But we didn't want a situation where you had a struggling Johnson Charles veer at the wicket with Chase. So in the end, I think it was the right decision. There was no danger of us being bowled out, and there was still the insurance of Chase to come if we needed.
But Andre, shouldn't we be giving Chase more credit as, for want of a better word, Chase is more of a proper batsman more than Rovman Powell, who is really a power batsman. But on that pitch, you needed someone to time the ball away rather than someone to bulldoze the ball away. Don't you think so, Andre?
Yes, exactly. And we have to really know Chase has really expanded his game. He has become a lot more versatile now. And of all the batters in the middle, he doesn't consume as many dot balls as the others, right? So Chase, as I said, he's also I think he's the best player of spin in the middle order. So Chase, I think could be just as effective as Rovman Powell because even I think Rovman Powell hit 1-6 and thereafter he struggled to get the ball away, right? And Chase wouldn't have any difficulties of the sort. Chase is a good rotator of the strike. And I think you'd have been an even more effective player on that type of pitch.
So West Indies made 173, Roger. It was a good total on that pitch. Russell came and had some luck and some power towards the back end of the innings, and we got the score up to 153. But Fidel da Silva is saying that Uganda was brilliant with the ball, especially in the death. Talk to us about the Uganda bowling. Did it surprise you? Because one of the times I had called them primary school bowlers, but last night they looked like an international cricket team.
Yeah, extremely impressive, especially the pace bowlers that came back at the end. They were hitting their Yorkers consistently. And, their spin bowlers, I wouldn't necessarily say they were world class, but they bowled wicket to wicket and they were very effective. But their pace bowlers, extremely impressive. The only thing they need to do is try to keep the elbow a little bit straighter.
Okay, thank you. That was a concern last night as we were on commentary, and I was saying to those who were watching that probably those pace bowlers, I didn't quite like the elbow, and maybe sooner or later we'll hear a release coming out from the ICC. We must say, though, that this Uganda at the 2022 under-19 female World Cup, was it 22 or 23? Under-19 female World Cup, their best bowler was sent home or prevented from bowling because the ICC deemed that she was throwing. And maybe it's a case that more coaching need to be done in somewhere like Uganda. And we cannot forget that they upset Zimbabwe to reach this stage of the tournament. Now West Indies made 173, Uganda bowl well. When Uganda started their batting, Akeal Hosein was a man on fire. The very first delivery that Akeal Hosein bowled, it pitched about middle stump and it turned to about six stump. Then the next delivery, the batsman looking for a similar delivery. It came in with the arm, his middle stump was knocked out. Talk to us about this bowling performance from Akeal Hosein. Going with you first, Roger.
Almost every ball that Akeal bowled, it felt like he was going to get a wicket, especially when he went wide up the crease because you knew the arm ball was coming. I'm going to be very, very frank here. These batsmen from Uganda, they cannot bat at all. They are absolutely listless.
True.
I'm just going to be honest. It just felt as if as long as Akeal was able to keep that arm ball on the stumps, that was automatically a wicket. So while Akeal was brilliant, and again, this argues well for the West Indies going late into this tournament because it's going to do a lot for his confidence. The Uganda batsmen, they really, they were not competent batsmen. But having said that, while Akeal was impressive, I was not happy with Alzarri Joseph. He's our leading fast bowler. He's supposed to be the leader of our attack. And I know, we're going to say I'm giving him a hard time because he bowled 3 overs of 4 runs and he took 2 wickets. But I'm expecting more from a leading fast bowler. I'm expecting when these tail enders come in, Alzarri should be hitting the stumps. And I don't think he did that consistently enough. And I think he really has some work to do.
Thank you very much, Raja. Let's listen, Andre, to what Akeal. This is part of what Akeal Hosein said, and Raja made a point about the quality of the Uganda's batsman. In this interview with Akeal Hosein, I don't know if I have that clip, but part of his interview he said, yes, it was Uganda, but I'm very happy with the areas that I hit. And that is what is important. For once I hit those areas, it doesn't matter as the batsman, I'm going to give them trouble. I don't think it is part of this clip, but Andre, I want you to react to what Akeal Hosein says in this clip.
Thoughts on the pitch? I think it was not the easiest of pitches, as we've seen the couple games that has played here. But I think it's just about reading the conditions and trying to adapt as quickly as possible. I think it's a pitch where if you really go searching, sometimes you can miss your length. Sometimes you may think it's an easy opposition, so they might just lay down and roll over. But at the end of the day, you still have to put in the hard work. You still have to execute and go about your game the right way, and then you can get the results.
Yes, Andre, do you just react to all of what Akeal was saying? He did touch on the point that I was making, that although it was Uganda, he did touch on that point. So go ahead, Andre.
Yes, very, very important point made. He said, if you go searching sometime, you could probably miss the areas, the right line and length. So Akeal Hosein knows that irrespective of the opposition, it's important that you hit the right line and length, right? Because he knows that once he does that, the pitch will do the rest. So I'm in total agreement there. You must try to hit your areas irrespective of the opposition after assessing the pitch. And I thought that Akeal Hosein assessed the pitch pretty well. He knows the pitch, he knows the conditions pretty well. So he bowled according to the condition and he reaped the reward.
Do you agree with Raja, do you agree with Akeal Hosein assessment of everything and the thoughts coming from the young man?
Absolutely. Akeal Hosein is the number 3 ranked bowler in T20 international cricket. And he's gotten there as a result of consistent performances over the last 2 years. However, in the last 2 or 3 series, he's been a bit off the boil. And obviously, when a bowler comes on the scene and, top class international batsmen are able to really analyze your action and analyze what you're doing, you get found out. And Akeal over the last 2 to 3 series has not been hitting his lines and his lengths the way he should. So I think last night he did just that. This performance will do a lot for him going forward. My only concern is, and the commentator spoke about this, it was very obvious when Akeal wanted to bowl a orthodox left arm spinner, so a normal delivery, stock delivery. And it was very obvious when he ran wide of the crease to bowl his arm ball. That is something he's going to have to look into because it's very, very easy to spot.
Yes, I understand that, Roger. And if it is easier to spot, it is easier for the batsman to play.
Mm-hmm.
But I also know that a lot of times the batsmen, they knew what the bowler is going to do, but they still can't negotiate it. So I understand the point that you're making. Once the batsman can spot it, it's going to be easier for them to play. But my bigger concern, or what I would want Hosein to be doing, is to executing and pitching the ball where he wants to pitch it. Because in the end, once he pitch it where he wants to pitch it and doing what he wants to do, the batsman still has to pay attention to him. I'm not saying I don't take your point, Roger. I take your point. Thank you, Supernova 22, for bringing it to my attention that at the 2023 Under-19 World Cup, it was not Uganda, but the young female fast bowler was from Rwanda. That is why I love this community so much, because they are always on the ball. They always have the fact. Andre, and you can also react to this one too, Roger. Andre, Nilo Alexander is saying that if the Uganda's bowlers can get away with throwing, with bent elbows, why is Narayan being called?
Why is Narayan being called?
Yeah.
I don't know if I really want to bring up that Narayan issue, because Narayan is now a retired cricketer, and I mean, Uganda, they're pretty much new to cricket, and I'm sure that the ICC would probably be looking into the action of these bowlers that are questionable. I mean, Narayan was in cricket quite a while before he was called, so I not want to compare the two situations. These Ugandans are pretty new, and they're pretty inexperienced, and I wouldn't want to think that the ICC would want to just ban a bowler. I mean, an upcoming team or bowlers like that. They'll probably want to look into the situation first before even commenting on the action of the Ugandan players.
Raja, do you agree with Andre that the Ugandans should be given a leeway? International cricket is international cricket. Why give them a leeway? Why have two standards? Let's hear your reaction, Roger.
Well, you certainly don't want to give them a leeway. As you said, it's international cricket. I think Narayan's situation is totally different. Narayan is a high-profile player, and this stigma has followed him for many years. So, at the end of the day, the way it works is this. Once you get to a certain level and you start taking wickets and you start winning games for your team and you start beating the wrong teams, you're going to be called out or found out pretty quickly. But I certainly believe that whether you're a high-profile player or not, as long as your action is deemed illegal, certainly it will be looked into. I mean, I don't necessarily believe the umpires or the ICC will allow the Uganda players to get away with this. I'm sure we're going to hear something in the coming days because it was quite blatant.
Roger, Will Summans is saying, I was not happy with Joseph either. Fidel da Silva is saying, I agree, Alzarri was spraying the ball too much. Too many short length deliveries. So there you have at least two persons agreeing with you that yes, Alzarri was just spraying the ball too much. What do you want to see Alzarri do going forward in Wednesday's game, Raja?
I want to see Alzarri take a note of what Jasprit Bumrah from India is doing. He's a leading bowler for India. He's a leading bowler in the world. And when Bumrah comes on to bowl, he's asking questions. He's hitting the top of the stump on most occasions, or he's hitting the base of the stump with his Yorkers. He's hitting the line. He's bowling the ball exactly where he wants to. For me, Alzarri is just a little bit all over the place, and it's difficult to tell what the plan is. It's almost as if he's just running in and hitting a length, and there's no real plan. If Alzarri is going to be our leading bowler and he's going to, help the West Indies to go further into this tournament and potentially lift the World Cup, what Alzarri brought to the table yesterday, that is not going to work.
Andre, what's your feedback on Alzarri? What would you like to see Alzarri doing? And while I talk about Alzarri, gentlemen, we must not forget that this is Alzarri 14th match in which he has continues to get wicket. I think he has gone out 23 wickets in 14 matches. None of our other bowlers are so effective and are striking at that rate. Andre, what do you think Alzarri should do? I just think I need to bring out the numbers, as the numbers are also important.
Well, I want for Alzarri to just assess conditions better. I don't have a problem if Alzarri bowls those short deliveries now, but you have to assess the condition and which pitch that you want to bowl much shorter. The pitches that you need to bowl is straight. The pitches from those pitches that you need to be bowling shorter. On a pitch like the one at Providence, you don't need to be bowling that many short deliveries. Keep it straight, keep it full, and I think that you'll get a better result. Other pitches, if it requires that you bowl shorter, fine, you do so. But I want for Alzarri just to be able to assess conditions better when he's bowling.
Okay. So the next match is being played in Trinidad on Wednesday against New Zealand. Someone in the chat was asking when is the next match playing, and Percy's already start picking the team for Wednesday. We'll have a show when we'll pick the team. I saw Percy say that who we should drop and so on. But when it comes to Wednesday, we will look at that. We'll look at a team either tomorrow or Tuesday. Right now, we're just looking back at the match that took place last night. Kirk said, I don't believe in playing cricket every time the school. Okay, I think they are having a chat between Kirk and another Kirk A and another person. What time West Indies game will be played on Wednesday? It will be in the night. Mikel is saying that I am sure a report will be made on the Uganda bowlers. Roger, do you think the umpires would have already reported the Uganda bowlers?
If the umpires are doing their jobs, of course they would have. Us casual fans sat in our living rooms at all different corners of the world have seen it. And I'm pretty sure the third officials, the third umpires would have seen it. And there is no reason why they should not have made a report. So I would hope they are doing their jobs and they would have reported the Uganda bowlers.
This is a good point that Mr. Casanova one is making, Andre, because we are here saying the Uganda's bowlers, but how many of them did we actually see? I suspect one, so I don't know if you see more than one, Andre, or Roger. Did you see more than one? So go with you first, Andre, and then I go to Roger.
No, I saw only one of the bowlers. I don't remember his name, but it's the one that bowled the Yorker to Rutherford, that bowled Rutherford with that delivery. He was the only one that I saw.
Kewuta.
Roger, did you see more than one?
No, only Kewuta. He was the bowler that I thought had a highly suspect action.
Wilson Mans, that I share this view from Wilson Mans. That's the same way I felt, That's when Alzarri running in, that's the same way I felt. But I continue to be comforted by the fact that he is our leading strike bowlers, and the numbers speak for itself. But Wilson Mans, that's the exact way I felt when I saw Joseph running. We can't have double standard. We can't have one standard for Narayan, and we can't have one for the other set of bowlers. Yes, Supernova 22, thank you for bringing that to our attention. That is true. And when I said 14 matches, I was referring to the T20 internationals that Joseph have played since the last World Cup. So that's since 2023. You are giving us his all-time statistics, but I was referring to his numbers since 2023. And you would see there that in his first 10 matches, he probably get 15 wickets. But in his last 14, he have gone 24, 25, something like that. So he has been really impressive since the start of 2023. Fabian, I have no issues with Joseph. And that is one of the things that we always have persons with different opinions. And that is what makes this community so dynamic.
Let me make one point there, Carlton.
Go ahead,
Sorry. I believe in processes and just doing the right things. And I know results are important. I know the numbers are important. But I want to see us doing the right things more often than not. I would like to see Alzarri having a plan when he goes to bowl and executing that plan more often than not. And I think this will argue well for when we go deeper into the tournament and face better opposition. I know he has been getting the results, but again, we're trying to win a World Cup here, and we're gonna meet up on much tougher opponents, and we're just looking forward because when we meet up against Virat Kohli and Phil Salt, Josh Butler, and these guys, at the back end of the tournament, Alzarri needs to be hitting the straps. We're dependent on Alzarri as one of our main players or a leading bowler, the leader of our attack, to really assist us when it gets to the back end of the tournament.
Yes, thank you very much. Michael Douglas is saying that both Miyaga and Kayuta is throwing, but Kayuta throwing is more obvious. Robert Anthony Ross, Charles batting was very scratchy. He looked lost versus spin. Now, I have seen a lot of this comment about Charles batting last night. Now, he made 44 from 42 deliveries. He was scratchy, of course. I think when he got out, I said, I don't remember, but I said something like that. It was a good thing for him. He getting out, relieve him of his misery, something like that. I said that. But these things happen to batsmen all the time, all over the world. And the fact that he got 44, let's put that 44 into context. Uganda only made 39. So 44 runs is 44 runs. Importantly, however, Charles got to spend time in the middle. And I think spending time in the middle last night was more important than his strike rate. So yes, he was scratchy, but I think overall it was a good innings. What do you think, Roger?
Well, when I watched the West Indies lineup for the national anthem by the great David Rudder, Charles was sweating bullets, which tells me, he was extremely nervous.
He was working.
Yeah, and obviously the noise, around his role in the team, around his lack of performances within the last few games, it was sort of something that he was hearing. So to me, I could see that he was under tremendous pressure. Especially in the first couple of overs, he played and missed quite a bit. So I would cut him some slack. I think, it's good that he got to spend time at the crease. But not only that, the fact that he got a score, he top scored for the West Indies, he's going to feel more comfortable going into the game against the Kiwis, and I expect him to do well.
Yes, Andre, Dorian is saying, all I need is for the boys to win the World Cup at home. I think we all want the same thing. And I take Dorian's point because while I agree with the process and believe that the process should be followed, as a cricket coach, I always teach my boys and girls the approved way to do things. But for example, I told them that in the hand, if it is your high latch catch the ball, is your high latch catch it, So while we want things to do there to execute and follow the process and look good, in the end, it doesn't matter how the wins come as long as it come, Andre.
Yeah, very, very important, And we know that, guess what? This is the start of the tournament. And even persons were complaining, we had to work so hard against Papua New Guinea. Yeah, of course, we had to work hard. But as you said, at the end of the day, we won. And we won yesterday even more convincingly. So what I'm seeing is we are having a nice build-up, for the back end of the tour, for the next few games and for the next round. So I'm pretty happy with what we have done thus far. And I'm quite confident that we will improve. And once we see improve and we play our best, we should be in very good standing to win in the tournament or come close to doing so.
Thank you very much, Andre. Roger, your final comment, please, your wrap-up comment.
A very clinical performance from the West Indies. They did exactly what was expected. They did exactly what was asked. I think our net run rate is now close to 4. So I think this, sets us up, very nicely going into that clash against New Zealand. New Zealand are going to be under tremendous pressure, and I think the West Indies are in prime position to take advantage of the Kiwis.
Andre, your final comment?
Yes, as I said, I like what I'm seeing from the West Indian players. We saw improvement from the first game against Papua New Guinea, and I expect West Indies, when they play against a very dejected New Zealand team, a New Zealand team which seems really out of sort, I expect to see even better performance. And I do expect to see also they're going to play in Trinidad, which I think which will be better conditions for batting. So I expect to see some really fireworks on West Indies. So great things to come from the West Indies.
No team have ever gone through the T20 World Cup unbeaten. Last year at the ODI World Cup, Australia lost their first 2 matches. They almost lose against Afghanistan. And 75% of the cricketing world wrote them off. West Indies played 2 matches, won both matches. And while we analyze and we want to see things done in a particular way, the objective is to win the cricket matches. I am not here saying that I'm pleased with the West Indies performance on the field of play. I want it to be more clinical. But that does not prevent me from being happy about the result. For at the end of the day, when it all said and done, what I want is for the West Indies to win. I drew the comparison a few days ago between a domino game and the cricket. It doesn't matter how many persons watching the game telling you what to play. If at the end of the game you win that game, you would have played the right shots. Thank you all for tuning in. See you tomorrow as we look at the West Indies playing 11 for the 3rd match against New Zealand, live from Trinidad, where the match is already sold out at the Brian Charles Lara Cricket Academy. Have a good evening, everyone. Take care of yourself. Take care of your loved ones. Bye now.